Well, I hope this recording goes well. Hello, Troy A, Shadowingtronics, taking part in the Art Soundoff Challenge. I have, if you remember from previous Art Soundoffs, or other videos I've shown about my workspace, I'm kind of set up in what I call the secondary art arrangement, because the laptop in my main drawing corner, well, I should say I'm not really sure that I can record like this and draw at the same time and save the video. This is what I need for art, except I can't run the 3D drawing dolls, but otherwise it functions. That's basically been my luck with the laptop. I can get them to function. So let me switch my window where I'm looking. And hopefully this stays recording throughout the whole thing and I don't miss something. So, for those of you just joining us, I tried to redesign Batman a few years ago, and this ugly monstrosity was the result. And I don't like it, so I am remaking it. Because even my art skills at the time were better than this. So, we're going to start doing Reconstructed. So this kind of gives you an idea of my drawing style, and the way I draw is taking advantage of doing this in video form. And every now and then I'm going to check to make sure I'm still recording and see how far along I am. If this thing is up, thank you. Okay. So the first thing we got to do is, when I'm doing a piece, one thing to note is that every character is on its own layer. The background is its own layer, the foreground is its own layer. Any objects that I may need to move around are on their own layer, and you'll see why soon enough. But for this video, the focus is on getting the Batman. Give the layer, the folder to put Batman on. As I think you can tell, I've gone into my auto actions. I created two original design auto actions, and I put in a section called Design Folder Layout. This is the one I used for the Jake and Leon characters. It's not a whole lot of stuff to do there, and this is for, I'm calling the advanced characters. So once I click this, I'm going to show you here. All you have is just Batman. Just this image. Now if I click here and I press play, character, I can't get, the only problem with my secondary setup is I can't reach my keyboard, so I'll just leave it named character because that works. Normally I would rename it Batman. And as you can see now, over the original artwork, which is now serving as my draft, I have a new folder. Like I said, normally this would be Batman, and I'll probably change the name once I've got the setup all taken down and I have access to my keyboard again. It's the only problem I really have with this secondary setup, beyond the fact that it's not in my cozy little corner. So, you've got character, and then underneath we got the two main layers. Then I got this section called Underdraw. These are the stuff that is automatically set to draft. And that means that whatever I put in this folder here will not show up in the final product. So that includes these two layers here, and we're going to start the one, I called it Pose because I've never been able to come up with a good name for it. This is basically the layout of the character or the scene, so I probably could have called it Layout. But even then that could get confusing to me as far as laying out the page and everything else, so I never come up with a name that satisfies me. So I go to my pencil tools and I choose Design Pencil. This will help me start this. So right now, this kind of looks like one of my sketches would be. It's position, it gives an idea of what I want the pose to look like, although it's going to look much better when we're done, hopefully. So now with the Design Pencil, let me just bring this opacity down a little bit further. That might be too much. I won't be able to see what I'm doing. Let's go with 45. Now, you start here and too dark. I got something wrong here. Okay, I don't know what's going on. So very lightly, I draw the head shape, which is not even accurate. So let me zoom here so I can see what I'm doing. For Batman, I want to give him more of a not completely square, although he will be kind of square jawed when I'm done. And then from here, I draw the outline here. Halfway through, halfway down is the eyes. Halfway for that is the nose, and halfway there is the mouth. And then I can add in some other features, for example, the bat ears, which you'll see later why I'm starting over here. The bat ears. Man, this is not good. Let me try this. Oh shoot! I got this That's why I got this thing too large. Okay, I want to put this on vector because the pose, all the drawing stuff is on a vector layer. The coloring layers are usually on. No, that's not good. No, wrong button. In the wrong. Nope. Try to match. This looks a little different. I'm probably not going to stick that way when I go to the final. I go to finally draw this thing. This is just basically a general layout of where everything is supposed to be. It's kind of a map of what I want to look. That's what I should call it. I should call it the map layer. So let's see here. Zoom out a little bit. Make this the same length as the head. I think it's a little large. Can we? Thank you. There we go. Now I got a problem. I'm not pointing in the right direction. There we go. Because he's turned to the side, I have to match that up properly. And then we're going to. One thing I should have done is maybe resize this, because one of the problems I did with the original piece was I made his body too long, and that's really something I should try to fix. So I can't really use the same guide the way I would ordinarily, because I don't usually screw it up this bad, even in the sketch. So this, and then for I kind of, not surprising if you've caught previous art sound-offs. Oh, come on. I kind of use action figures as my design choice, so I want to switch windows here. Okay, so for example, here's one of my action figures, and I kind of put the bending points that way. That's just how I'm comfortable doing it, at least at this stage. So I'm going to take and put him in the pose that I want. What I can also do is pose myself. Get a better idea of how he should look when he's about to do. Okay. So if I set him up here, give him the angle I want. I'll go back to Clip Studio. And so this gives me an idea of where everything should be. So Just you need to make the limb points here. And then we'll put that in. And then it's not quite right because he's got a, when your arms work, it's supposed to taper into. It's not quite straight, you know, it's not quite a straight. Oh, I can't even draw it right. Not even quite a straight oval, it's kind of tapers down a bit. So look something more like that. And then yeah, so I want the fist there. Not to be a fist. And you can see from the original picture, I'm still screwing up. In the original picture, he's holding a batarang in a spring. So let me see here. Art hands. Let me use this. Okay. And that gives me an idea of how the hand should look. I'm still trying to figure out how to map the fingers properly so that I get what I want, but the fingers are pretty much going to be covered by what will be the batarang. So let me, and I'm trying to get myself to, and obviously I'm not doing it here, I'm trying to get myself to kind of work between the lightened lines and a darker line. The lightened lines would be stuff you can't see, and the heavier lines would be the stuff you can. And sometimes I will erase things just to make it easier on me. But I try not to, because I like to know, even if I can't see the arm, which is going to be covered by the cape, I want to know where it is so I know how to shape the cape correctly when I get to the penciling stage. Okay, so using Hyoga here again as my example. No. No, that's too short. I am not really getting the musculature. Sometimes I will try to get the like if it's I know he's a strong guy, I'll try and give him more muscles. But that's still more of things I'm trying to learn how to figure out how to do. He's supposed to be light. No, the way I got it here, his foot is flat. Of course, no, the way I got it in there, he's got toes. He's got his toes. He's standing on his toes, so that's actually right. Okay. Sorry, it's something this figure can't do. I want to get some of those highly more articulated dolls, drawing dolls. Like I got one of the art mannequin that they, the little guy on the post. I'd show you, but he's all the way over there. But they don't have a proper waist. The reason I go with an action figures is he's got a waist here. If you go the drawing dolls, it's kind of like he just ends in a box here, and then is the pose for the legs. So I'll use that for upper body poses, or have some idea of the leg. But if I want something like that, I really need an action pose, I'll grab an action figure with a good enough level of articulation to use as my guide. Now this foot is supposed to be flat-footed. Okay, so I want to turn the figure a bit here so I can get a better shape of the foot. And that the boot is going to be further up here. I'm just trying to say this is generally what the foot will look like. And then finally I sketch out the idea for what the cape will ultimately look like. Go light here just so I can follow the lines of the cape while I'm drawing it. That gives me an idea of, and because this is going to be behind the rest of the cape, I'll just draw that way. And then the cape will come this way and we'll cover, so it's kind of covering the arms a bit, and that's, so if I got this arm a bit more muscular like I want him to look, the cape would come like this. So, let me bring you up. Trying something different here. Brush density now. I was hoping to work on the opacity actually. Soft doesn't have. Let me see here. Not doing anything. Not erasing any lines. Why am I not? Oh, there we go. So this is, so make it softer in here, and then the hard lines are the stuff that you can actually see, and that helps me. This way, the area still exists, so I have this as a guide for when for the part of the body that still exists. It's just blocked from our view by the arm. So I want it to. So I use that as a guide, but at the same time, I want to make sure the arm is in the right spot, and then the body still looks like it's in the right spot. And I don't know if I just explained that in any kind of way to make sense. So let me look at it here. Check my time and everything. Yeah, that's pretty much that's my start. That's what my pose is. I'm gonna shows the autosave. I'm gonna turn this down a bit more because I want the focus now. When I go to do the next phase of drawing, I want to focus more on this thing, and then I still have this that I can refer to from time to time to get an idea of what the end product is going to look like, even as a draft. So I'll turn this down so that I can focus there. I will turn this wrong, but instead of blue, I am going to push it more toward the red, I think. I'm still trying to decide different color. That looks more orange, but it works. The point is that it stands out, and then when I do the next layer, the lines will come out, and then I can still see this layer and still see the pose layer, but when I do the pencil layer, which is what we're going to do next time, I have a good idea of what everything is going to look like, and it's not going to be a huge position. This is all technical. Everything here is technical. Where are the parts? Where's the cape? Where's the batarang? Where's the arms? Where's the leg? This is like the most technical part to me of the drawing. Tomorrow, or whenever I get to post the next one, because things are kind of crazy around the house right now. So hopefully tomorrow, or at very least the next video, we're going to do the pencil stage. Just the regular pencil, which for me is actually the most fun of all the stages. This is where I get technical. Tomorrow, next time, is when I get to have the most fun. So if you want to check out that, you can subscribe to the channel, or you can subscribe and check out my website, bwspotlight.com. And if you want to find out more about what Art Soundoff is, obviously this week I'll be doing it a little bit differently, but I do Art Soundoff a little bit differently to begin with. You can go check out artsoundoff.com. So I will see you tomorrow where we make the magic happen. And until then, I wish you all happy creating. If I can switch over here and stop recording.